the your real side experiences that you wrote about. 'Cause, let's say when a person has a dream, um, sometimes they're like cloudy, kind of foggy, kind of vivid. But yours seem like they're very real, like here and now. Like there's no cloudiness or fogginess. Like sometimes, like in movies, you know, you might see an actor having a dream and it's like kind of foggy and it's not so clear. Versus like here now in the present is very real. So I guess my question to you, Duane, is like throughout all of your new books and your experiences, like was it real like now, like here as in a physical form, or was it as a dream where it's like kind of foggy or and more vivid, if that makes any sense?
Well, yeah, it does. As we're here in creation, okay, so I'm going to go roundabout with this because there's many ways to look at it. But as we're here in creation, we have, we're in the physical body, and we need this experience because this experience is very upfront. It's very right on. You have touch, feel, taste, whatever sensations. You experience pain right away, even if it's a little sliver or whatever. And what I wrote about in the books is, yes, some of it was physical experiences, some of it was personal physical experiences, and then for the most part, it's multidimensional with recognition. Okay, so the whole of life is about waking up to recognize what it is. And so we've all been brought through ideas which help us along to a certain point, but for the most part we get stuck with them. So yes, when you're reading the books, you're gonna, for the most part, you're gonna use your literal personal self to try and figure out these experiences. Now, when you have, let's say we call it your dreams, when you go to sleep at night, and like in a movie too, I've seen many movies where all of a sudden the person is dreaming or hallucinating or whatever they're going through, let's just say a dream, and it's kind of foggy. That represents a lack of recognizing what's going on, is what that represents. In other words, they can't quite see it. And they know something's there, but they can't quite see it. And I go through this too. Everybody does. In other words, if it can be a business deal or something else that's starting to show up, there can be somebody, over there, the Callum God and Joni and Harry are planning, an attack. And so at first, it's going to be kind of fuzzy and hazy until it's absolutely confirmed, and they're doing it, and all of a sudden they show up. So it's kind of like somebody calls you, and you're doing funny things, and they say, "Oh, I'm a mile away from your house. The police are coming. You better get out of there." So right away, you don't see it, but you have the idea, and it's kind of, you're kind of imagining, okay, what's going to go on here? What do I do? Should I leave or whatever? But when they actually come to your door, they knock on the door, break it down, that becomes the reality, you see. So it's very interesting, the experience we have in creation, and all of it, as you begin to see how it really works, the ideas that we've come to know and become emotionally attached to and all these things, and how we get ourselves locked into these ideas, because life is an actual isness that is very real, but you have to recognize it. So these are the hints that you're getting, not only here in the physical sense, but also on the real side, what I call the real side. You have the dream area, then you have the real side where it shows you what's really going on. So yes, in the books, what I'm providing as an example is what I've recognized, okay, through my experiences, from my experiences, that becomes a difference. It's not a matter of just, okay, like the Bible pushers. It's like, okay, they write whatever they want, just like the U.S. government with their laws, and say, well, this is real. This is what life is. Okay. See, that's a literal sense given, and these are just ideas. And this is where I said many times what I'm presenting is references. You can only reference this, and each individual recognizes it. So that's what it is. And this is where the books are multidimensional. Some are physical. Most of it's multidimensional, into the real universes, to the is, etc. It's a recognition. It's not just words. So that becomes the difference. So they are hints for you. And yes, when you're having experiences, it's okay. It just simply is that you recognize it or you don't. And so as I see people on the real side stepping up. I don't physically know them, many of them, but all of a sudden at some point they show up, and all of a sudden it's like, hi, I'm Bill or I'm Joe. And see, all of a sudden now there becomes this recognition. But at first, no, there's not, because again, they have their experience. I have mine. I have these personal areas. But that, again, is different from recognizing the is also. So, again, you learn to see, what position, if it's in creation, the different levels, or some part of the real universes, there becomes a difference. So it takes a little bit of time to sort this out. It really does. It takes a lot of explaining, a lot of experience, and it just depends upon the person, how focused they are. And so, again, life equals itself, and this is what most people don't realize, and that is that, yes, you have to earn that awareness. It's just not begging for it, but you have to figure out how to earn it. And so what we're demonstrating today is how you do that. And so, again, but you will still have these experiences. I do too. I have ones where, I will see parts of the experience. I will get the idea. In other words, let's say I'm doing a business deal or something like that around the world, and I'll see maybe the waist and the chest and the arms of the individual, and maybe they're in a suit or plain clothes or whatever they're in, but I don't see their head because I haven't, you might say, met them yet. And so this is what's taking place. So again, when you learn to see that everything is recognition, in other words, you can see something. Okay, you can see a car go by as an example, and it can be a brand new make of a car, and you go, gee, what was that? Until you go over to it and see that, oh, gee, this Ford made this. It looks like a Ferrari, but all of a sudden you look at the emblem and it's Ford. Now you recognize that it's Ford that make it. See, those are recognitions of a sort, okay? And so those are in creation. So what we're referring to here overall, because that's where your real freedom is recognizing the real universe is the isness. It's very important the isness life is. And so, and there's a whole lot to that, even more than creation. Creation seems like the biggie, but it's not. It can only be a reference. That's all it can be. And it becomes a reality when you decide that it is your only reality. But you can learn to compare and see the difference. And so, again, yes, it's all about recognition, Titus, and how you, just like anything, you go to a party and you see, you're looking for your friends. And everybody else you don't recognize until you meet them a few times, and all of a sudden, they call you on the phone, and all of a sudden you recognize their voice, etc. Otherwise, you don't know who they are. Who's this? Who's speaking? And even sometimes they say their name, you don't. It's recognition, isn't it? Yes, everything is. So you're being rehearsed in creation, going through this process to eventually recognize the reality that you already is, this isness. It's so cool. And this cleans away everything. But it's a big journey, and it is really a focus. It is really a focus. But it's the UP I talk about, universal positioning. First of all, you got to decide your position, just like you decide your career. I mean, you decide it and you go for it, or you don't, and you have no career. See, so it's in that deciding, it's in that constant deciding, and also when you have that career, you decide to continually maintain it. That's a moment-to-moment decision, because anytime you can just say, the heck with this job, okay, or whatever it is. See, so again, it's that recognition, and it's okay if you really want to know anything. Eventually, it will show up. It just takes time, but it will show up, and it could be 100 years. But again, I see that all that matters through my experience is what I've written in the books, referencing the real universe is and the isness life is. And eventually, in the physical sense or whatever, you'll the boys have been around a long time, so they've gained a lot of experience. They recognize what's taking place in creation. So on the real side, they can do anything. It's a very simple thing. They don't have to do hocus pocus magic like we have here, the magic show with the phenomena and the entertainment and whatever. It's all a magic show here. It's just phenomena taking place in creation, as opposed to a reality to where you're no longer unaware. That becomes the difference too. You see, that recognition equals becoming less unaware. This is what's so cool about it. So we have, the different systems, politics, religion, spiritual, scientific, and whatever. These are ideas, God, etc. These are ideas. And as people look to them, that becomes their reality. So those people, as of yet, have not recognized that there is a difference between the whole of life, the isness, and the ideas that have been created and used to manipulate people, etc. So again, people are waking up to the manipulation, but at the same time, they don't know what else to do because they haven't recognized the isness. You need that. Otherwise, you just go to some other sound good idea that's been created, etc. So that's a little bit of the explanation, Titus. There you go.
Yeah, like when you talk about the isness, I definitely slowly but surely I kind of see what you're talking about as far as reading your books and the whole nine. A lot of times when you say like, just take a peek at or take a look at the sun and see what it demonstrates. I see like it makes sense to me because personally from experience, like as I'm going to work or driving to work or catching a bus, I see animals and squirrels like in my backyard, and it's like they have like a certain isness about them. That's this. I mean, you can't. It's hard to explain. They're quiet. They're looking around. They're not really concerned about anything. They're just eating their nuts. I mean, it seems like they're having fun. The birds, they're flying around. There's no bills. There's no credit. There's no pain. I mean, there's no competition. There's no work 9 to 5. And I mean, for instance, like the National Geographic Channel, that's one of my favorite channels to watch. Just watching those animals just be like just free, and I see like there's a certain isness about the animals that they have. It's like it's invisible. They don't have any worries. They have it's kind of hard to explain with words. But when you say to see what the sun is demonstrating, it benefits all of us. But the sad thing about it is a lot of folks don't even care about the sun. They go outside, they go on vacations, they go on cruises. Okay, it's nice hot weather, but like, I mean, people rarely look up in the sky. Besides the chemtrails and the planes, but do people actually care about the what is representing? So when you say that, it's like, wow, it's very real. I mean, because for me, I mean, at work, I see people clocking in, clocking out, rushing to work, rushing to get out of work. And it's like, man, I mean, because I work at a manufacturing company, and it's crazy, man. It's like there's certain quotas you got to meet. And it's like, man, you guys are missing it. So as I'm working, I'm constantly, as I'm on my breaks, I always listen to Kevin Smith YouTube videos, and he has a lot, man. I just want to salute him and thank him and ask him to please keep it up with those videos, man. And as I hear Charles ask questions, he asks the most wonderful questions, man. Him, Bob, Sandra, all of you guys, man, and it just helped me out to slowly recognize the is, man. It's beautiful, and it's like hard to explain, but I'm slowly seeing it. So that's it. If that makes any sense. So yeah.
That's terrific, Titus. Just what you said there, and how these things help you out. It's really cool, and yeah, it's great that people have picked this up. And again, it's not the old ideas of the masters and gurus where it's about one person. It's about the whole of life, and people need this presentation. So, just what you said there, if you could write that down, Ava and I will make an image out of it, like one page or just enough writing, just that, through this, through others and the Skypes and whatever that you've learned so much, etc. And yeah, it's a big leap. It's a big journey, but it's okay. So the boys are there. They're the real guides are the intermediates with from creation along to the all isness, and never take it for granted. Actually, you become more childlike in this sense, and letting go. And just learning to recognize it's not about, knowing something or knowing all. I just, at the moment, like you asked the question, or when Charles is on or anyone else, I just see what's available now. That's what I do. That's the fun part. In other words, yes, I have a storehouse full of knowledge, but I don't really relate to that. I like to ad lib each moment, if it's humor or whatever, or the knowledge or what have you. I just see what's available at that very moment. And so this is the fun part, because the isness is always new. This is how I see it. And it's just like in my business. I was a general contractor for 40 years, and every time I got a new truck, the business would get better. I always look forward to that. I spent a lot of money on these vehicles, but I didn't mind it, because it was like stepping through a new door each time. And it did. It worked. It was a little thing I set up for myself. And anybody can do this, so we decide how we're going to do it. But, you're sharing. It's very important, you stepping up and sharing this, because look at how many people compared to the world are here. 20, 25 people, whatever. And, there's 8 billion on the planet. And who else is doing that? I mean, realistically, there's a lot of knowledge going around, and the knowledge is fine because of how it relates accordingly. What you make sense of it, not just to have the knowledge and to just sell knowledge. Okay, and that's easy to do, and we do that too, in a particular way, just so that we can survive. To just to continually promote this, but it's your benefit. To do this because you become more aware, and this is how it works. Everything equals itself. So as you sincerely promote what makes sense, that's all. Just whatever that I've written, or whatever you decide that makes sense with us surviving anywhere. Life is about survival. It's not about control, business, education, religion, spiritual stuff, politics, or whatever. These are invented ideas. Life is not about that. And just like you're talking about the squirrels and whatever, yeah, I like to watch these animals. Yeah, squirrels are awesome. We have them around the palm trees here, and they jump up and down, and they're fun. And any of the animals, they're just being themselves. And again, it's survival, but the reality of them is just great. That's why most people, and especially kids, love animals, cats, dogs, whatever. Because, they don't have an agenda. They're not projecting into a future that is all made up. All future is made up. And when people do this constantly, they've geared themselves, and they're dragging themselves with the ideas that they're chasing. They're actually dragging themselves into future lifetimes. And they don't realize this. So they need a really good reference according to the true reality life is. Not just sound good ideas to where, you're just a good person and you comply and you stop at all the stop signs and you say nice things to your neighbors, etc. And you're a good person, and if you want to be better, you become religious, you become a Christian or a Muslim or whatever. And again, these are ideas that people get stuck in, and they don't see that they're going into future lifetimes, etc. So Yes, by you presenting this to the world, that's something that makes sense, and referencing the real universe, that there is real universes, more so than cause-effect creation. But at the same time, hey, nothing's taken away. You can have whatever you want. So each individual decides. It's like for dinner, you can have whatever you want for dinner. You can have pizza, or you can have a salad and some brown rice, whatever. You decide what's for dinner. You see? So, and this is a decision too, but this is how you earn your way. We've all come through all these systems, and we've went with their invented postulates and doing this and doing that, and kind of conforming to whatever. Okay, so we've learned certain things, but now this is where you step out and you decide how you're going to reveal this reality to yourself. And I'm just giving you the hints as to how to do it. But the best way is just what the real guides do, is present it. It's like life is a big MLM, multi-level marketing. It really is that as we share the reality life is, it shares itself with us. And I don't mean sound good ideas, like God loves you and Jesus as your Savior and all these things. These are cute ideas, but they're just control ideas. They're just ideas. Any idea that sounds good, it's fine. But learning what the true reality is. And the ISSS decided the new you. It decided new. And then I added the you and whatever, so it's become the new you. And so again, life decides, you might say. But it doesn't make the decision. It just provides what it is. This is the best part. And that is that, we've come through this God idea where God likes you or doesn't like you, or all these things, or, there's God and the devil and all this and that. And, you have all these opposites going on and all this confusion and confrontation. Well, the isness has nothing to do with any of that. Again, the sun shining is a demonstration. And yes, it's not about people looking at the sun or liking the sun, because a lot of people do. Of course they do. But it is what it's demonstrating that is the most important. And at the same time, yes, enjoy the sun. You see? It's there for everyone. And so it demonstrates that also. But it also demonstrates that isness. But you got to recognize it. And that's the best part. And eventually it totally takes over you to where you're no longer the effect of anything. But as long as you're in creation and doing something, you're the effect here. I get bombarded lots of times and feel like Rocky, up and down, up and down. It's time I'm on Rocky 95 right now. And the thing is, that's just how it is here, because the main guy gets that. I have to take a lot of things, and it goes back and forth. So, but for you and everybody that's familiar with this, you get to present something that makes sense. And when I first came into this with Paul, it was really cool because, again, I compared it to what I had been through in high school, and I felt rather dull and immature there. But once I started reading Paul's references and his books, etc., made a lot of sense. I went out there immediately in the public when no one was doing it here, absolutely no one, and I just started making up things because I saw that here was something that made sense to me. And at that time, and it's fine, but it's just the start. It's not what's taking place now. There's a whole lot more. So that those are cute ideas that are shared by the corporation and others, etc. But there's a lot more to it now. So it's like going from your tricycle to a really fast motorcycle or a jet plane. I mean, there's a difference. Do you want to keep riding the tricycle? There is a difference. So again, it's choice. But yes, what you said there, Titus, is great. And as you promote yourself with how you feel, and this is where I suggest people write their own book, 80 to 100 pages, and put it on there and what they've gone through and how they've come into this. These become testimonials that help people like yourself better understand. So as you see others doing it, see, this is where we all share something real. It's not a belief. It's It's not an idea. It's not faith or whatever. The isness is just pure, clean, and real, just like the air you're breathing. It already is. That's the best part of it. Everything is that isness, and you recognize that. But then aside from that, you recognize your real awareness from all of creation. But it's all here and now. You don't have to go anywhere. There's no more going anywhere. You can have the thrill of astral projection or soul travel or whatever you want to do, remote viewing, but that's not it. It's the recognition. It's all here and now. And when you have that, then you learn to see everything. But it doesn't mean in the physical sense or in creation that you're going to know everything, because there's always things being created. There's always new situations, etc. So you just do what you can. But lucky you, you're one of the very few that has come across this. The boys pick everybody. Rebasar and the boys pick everybody and give them the opportunity to see this. But it's what you do with it. This is where many have come and gone. I've seen this over the span, almost my whole life of sharing this. And it's just that most people, they just take the knowledge. And that's about as far as they go. And they're thinking in their mind, oh, I know this. Again, they become the know-it-alls. And these are the people ruling the world and destroying the world. It's the know-it-alls. It's not the homeless people. It's not the kids. It's not the animals. It's the know-it-alls. They're destroying the world. And they're destroying the world. And they tell everybody what they know. And at the same time, it sounds good. And they're contributing the most. Is it necessary? Does it make sense? So we're trying to do something here that does make sense constantly. And first of all, people need to have a better understanding. But they have free will. All we can do is present it. And so, yes, thank you, Titus. Yeah, if you would, it's up to you. And, send it to me or Ava or Kelsey. And we'll make a little image of it and put it out there. Put your name on it. So make you the star. Thank you.